Jacaerys Velaryon, the heir to the Iron Throne, sinks under the gullet with triarchy arrows in his body, and the camera holds until the water goes still. That is how House of the Dragon chooses to open its third season, by drowning the boy the entire Black Cause was built to crown. 2 years of waiting, and HBO's flagship fantasy spends its premiere arguing that the side with all the dragons is losing. Rhaenyra had the numbers, the dragons, and a standing offer of surrender from inside the Red Keep, and she still lost the one piece she could not replace. So forget how the battle was won. The real question is why Jacaerys had to die. The Battle of the Gullet ends not with a triumphant roar, but with a silent, suffocating descent. Vermax drops low over the water to torch a cluster of ships, and it is one past too many. A concentrated volley of scorpion bolts rips into the dragon, and he crashes into the sea with Jace still strapped to the saddle. Jace cuts himself loose and breaks the surface into a maze of burning wreckage right under the eyes of archers on a triarchy deck. The arrows come in a volley, and the heir to the Iron Throne slips under without a last word. The show hands the aftermath to the survivors, Corlys standing on his burning flagship counting bodies in the water, and Baela flying Moondancer low over the spot where Jace vanished, screaming into the smoke. On paper, the Blacks won. The Triarchy fleet is decimated, but the episode refuses to play it as anything but a funeral. To understand why the story executes its own crown prince in a premiere, rewind to the deal Rhaenyra almost took. Here is the board at the start of the hour. Alicent Hydar has already come to Dragonstone under a banner of peace, promising to open the gates of the Red Keep and hand over Aegon, asking only that she, Helaena, and little Rhaenyra be spared and the war end without further bloodshed. Rhaenyra believes it because word has reached her that Aemond and Vhagar are gone to the Riverlands and Aegon lies bedridden. Her plan is surgical: pull 5 of Corlys' ships off the blockade to seize the port, fly to King's Landing in 2 days, and take Aegon's head and the throne in a single stroke. The episode has already shown you that her information is garbage. Aegon is not bedridden. He has been smuggled out of the city in a crate by Larys Strong, only to be caught by Rhaenyra's own soldiers and packed off toward Duskendale to be sold to the Queen as a living hostage. And Aemond has not flown anywhere. He is holding the Red Keep as its freshly declared king, sentencing the man who lost track of his brother to death. Aemond even says the green strategy out loud. Ormond Hightower is marching up the Mander with 15,000 men and Daeron's dragon, and the Triarchy fleet is about to ambush the blockade with 3 times the sea snake's strength. We only need to bide our time, he tells his mother, and for once in this family, somebody's plan is exactly what happens. Jace is the only person on Dragonstone who smells it, calling Alicent's offer a ruse cloaked in stale friendship, a trap to lure his mother and Daemon into Vhagar's jaws. He is wrong about the shape of the trap and right about everything else. And the 2 dragon riders who could have screened the fleet, Alf and Hugh, are off in the woods at Harrenhal on the Queen's orders, waiting to ambush a Vhagar that never comes. Then the horizon fills with sails, 53 counted before the lookouts stop counting, coming out of the rising sun. The Armada is Triarchy, contracted for the Greens by Tywin Lannister, and its admiral, Shirako Lohar, is not fighting for anyone's crown. This is personal. The Sea Snake spent more than 20 years hunting Lohar's own people. Tywin's doctrine is the smart one: close with the Valyrian fleet and grapple, because dragon riders are loath to burn their own ships. Lohar ignores half of it anyway, splitting Halfjaw's detachment off through the northern pass to sack High Tide, betting that Corlys cannot hold his focus while his treasure room burns. When word of the ambush reaches Dragonstone, Rhaenyra's first instinct is finally a warrior's. She calls for her riding leathers and declares she will fly. Jace stops her cold because he has seen this play before, an ambush like Rook's Rest, a ruse to draw out the Queen herself. The last time the Blacks took bait like that, Rhaenys and Meleys flew into the Green's trap at Rook's Rest and never flew out. So the son commits treason to save the Queen, ordering Ser Laurent to lock and bar her door, your life for hers, and goes to fight the battle in her place. Baela calls the order what it is, treason, And Jace does not argue. They killed my brother. He tells her, I will not let them take her as well, and she mounts Moondancer and follows him. What follows is the best naval sequence this franchise has ever produced, and it runs on one old man's seamanship. Corlys baits Lohar's flagship, the Bitchfist, into the Dragonstone Pass at dead low tide, threading his own hull over the rocks they call the Teeth, while the heavier warship grinds onto them behind him. Lohar cuts the anchors, dumps every pound of spare weight, muscles the Bitchfist free, and comes after him anyway. The boarding fight nearly kills Corlys, pinned and drowning in a flooded deck until he claws back to the air, and Alan, the son he would never name, screams "Father" across the ship. Up above, the dragons are winning right up until they are not. Jace and Baela burning the fleet, Rhaenyra arriving out of nowhere on a wild sheep sealer she can barely steer. One ballista bolt clips Vermax mid-battle, and Lohar starts demanding to be called Dragonslayer, a joke the ending turns into prophecy. So which story is the episode actually telling with Jace's corpse? Reading 1 says his death is the sacrifice that finally forces Rhaenyra into total war, the war she has spent 2 seasons refusing to fight. The evidence on screen is real, even holding every dragon that matters. She is still negotiating her way into King's Landing, still pricing peace at one head instead of a battlefield. What the episode implies is harsher. Nothing short of her son's body was ever going to cut her loose from the dream of a clean victory. But calling the death necessary is speculation about episodes that have not aired. All we have actually seen is the door she was screaming behind. Reading 2 says Jace died because Rhaenyra failed to lead, and the episode shows that one outright. Her own heir locks her in her chambers, and his indictment is specific. She has rejected his counsel and his every attempt to join the fight. Her counsel is, in her own words, craven men clutching at their doublets, and her 2 spare dragon riders spend the battle guarding an empty forest because her intelligence pointed them at the wrong castle. The implied cost is brutal. A commander with a coherent plan puts more dragons over the gullet, and Jace never has to make that last low pass alone. Whether Rhaenyra on Syrax saves him is pure speculation, but the vacuum where her command should have been is on screen in every scene. Reading 3 swallows both. The gullet is the black war machine failing as a system, dragons without doctrine. A fleet ordered to give up 5 ships for a city assault that never comes. An heir committing treason just to get someone airborne. A queen whose entire plan rested on Aemond being somewhere he never went. That reading is mostly shown. The divisions are not subtext. Ulf talking desertion at Harrenhal, Baela calling her own betrothed a traitor, Rhaenyra riding a dragon nobody sanctioned. Where it overreaches is the word doomed. Because the Blacks did not lose the gullet, they won it, shattered the triarchy, and lost the future instead. Hold the 3 readings up to the light, and they are not rivals, they are a sequence. Her hesitation built the vacuum sent her son to the water, and the water is what she gets instead of a surrender. So why did Jacaerys have to die? Because he was the only one in the Black faction willing to act like a king while the Queen refused to act at all. His mother wanted the throne without the fire, and her heir went out to buy that fantasy with his life. By desperately trying to keep her hands clean, Rhaenyra forced her son into the mud and the blood. She insists she has the heart and spirit of a king, and the episode lets the line curdle, because a king's spirit that nobody is allowed to follow commands nothing. For the book readers, fire and blood already marked this grave. The Chronicle sends Jacaerys and Vermax down in the battle in the Gullet, and the show kept the appointment. The premiere's cruelest irony is still in transit. Aegon is in a crate on the road to Duskendale, about to be sold to the Queen as a living hostage, the bloodless victory arriving one battle too late. Jacaerys is gone, and with him, the last shred of Rhaenyra's claim to a righteous, bloodless victory. Corlys called it, before the first sail crossed the horizon, rough seas lie ahead. Baela's low pass over the empty water is not just grief, it is the shape of the season to come, dragons circling a loss that no victory can pay back. The verdict is on the table, but the argument underneath it is far from settled. Could Rhaenyra have saved him by flying out herself, By massing her Dragonseeds over the Gullet instead of an empty forest? By burning the fleet before it ever formed a line? Or was Jace dead the moment 53 sails came out of the sunrise? Because no queen's order survives contact with war? Pick your answer carefully, because right now Rhaenyra's hesitation is exactly as lethal as a Triarchy arrow. One answer damns her, the other absolves her, and this show has never once let its audience have both. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss our deep dive into the latest Westerosi drama every single week. Argue with me in the comments. Was the Gullet a green trap, or did the Blacks lose it through their own divisions?